Hello and welcome to another episode of FilmmakeHER, the show where I sit down with outstanding women in media production and discuss their journeys. I'm your host, Ashley Jones, a television production student with a passion for learning the ins and outs of the industry. Our guest today is Nastazia Christodoulou, a Murray State University alumna who is creating films and television shows in the Republic of Cyprus. Nastazia is from Limassol, Cyprus, and has been a part of the media production industry for the past 6 years. In this episode, she will share with us her journey from Cyprus to Murray, stories about a popular television show she directed, reaching goals and accomplishments, and the importance of overcoming the sexism that is presented in the media production industry. Enough with the chit-chat, let's get started. Limassol, Cyprus, and Murray, Kentucky are over 6,000 miles apart. However, they have many similarities between them. Nastazia tells me that the kind and genuine people she met in Murray made her want to stay.
People are as nice as it is in Kentucky. They're very genuine, but the difference is that life in Kentucky, in Murray specifically, was very calm and very peaceful. In Cyprus, it depends where you live. If you live in a village, outside of the town, it's quite similar. If you live in the city, it's people work, people get mad all the time, it depends where you live. But one thing I really loved about Murray and I really wanted to stay was because it kind of reminded me of home, the people and the community. And you're all together, you're gonna meet up for food, you're gonna meet on Sundays. There are a lot of similar things, even though we're so far apart. There were a lot of similar things, and I think it's because it's also Cyprus, it's quite small, and also Mary, it's very small. So there are not a lot of big differences.
There are a variety of universities located in Cyprus that Nastazia could have attended. The opportunities that were available to her outside of her country meant more to her than what was available in Cyprus. Getting out of her comfort zone was one of Nastasia's biggest reasons to leave Cyprus and live the college life in Murray.
I mean, the United States is a country, at least from what we knew when we were young, it's a country that has a lot of opportunities that you could really succeed in your department, or you could find and meet people that can help you reach your goals. It was, how can I say it? It was, if I stayed in Cyprus, I would stay knowing just this. So I wanted to go out and be out of my comfort zone, meet new people, learn a new language, try to communicate in a new language, and see what other things are out of your country. I mean, I think that helps you a lot with creating your character and finding new things about yourself and getting out of your comfort zone to do this.
With the language barrier and being far away from her family, Nastasia describes her journey to travel to Murray alone as difficult. However, she says that although there may be things that you lose while you are studying abroad, what you gain in return is worth way more. Nastasia emphasizes the importance of going away from home and being by yourself to fully experience the freedom that is waiting for you.
You go at a place that, firstly, it speaks another language. So expressing yourself is is not easy. So you need to reset your settings, let's say, and realize that you need to express and talk and do normal and everyday things in another language, which that it was hard. But because here in Cyprus we start learning English from the age of like 8 or 9, so I had the basic. I could talk, I could speak English. But when I went to New York, it was a different dialect, an entire different communication. And then when I went to Murray State, it was like another language. So I had to adapt. And then you go away and you don't have the security of your family. Something happens and they're not like 10 minutes away, they're like 3 planes away. Or you get sick for the first time and you're yourself, and you realize that you only have yourself. There's nobody there. But it's a fun journey, which is very hard at the beginning because you need to forget all the things you knew before and start learning new ones. It was hard, but I would do it all over again.
Back home in Cyprus, Nastasia played on the national soccer team. Using that skill, she came to Murray State on a soccer scholarship. Nastasia says that being on the team at Murray State taught her discipline.
I think the discipline that sports in college, the discipline that you are taught, it helps you in every aspect of your life, and especially in the business, in the industry, because things needs to be disciplined to have a specific result. So that's one thing I think it really helped me, structured and disciplined to help me do my job as best I can.
Majoring in television production wasn't initially in the picture for Nastasia when she came to Murray State. She originally started her academic journey at the university as a major in physiotherapy. However, one elective class in media production lit a spark in her. She always found herself as a creative person growing up, but the concept of working in media production, that never crossed her mind.
We never had in the family someone that was in the media production or in film or TV. I never thought of following this type of department or career. I started as a physiotherapist when I came to the States, so I started on that department, and then I got an elective in media production in Mary State. And when I was going to the classes, I was like, damn, I really like this. It really makes me feel very creative, and I feel like it's something that I would love to do. That elective changed my entire major and then shifted me to a direction that I am now.
Making this choice was a huge step for Nastasia. She also found it difficult to explain to her parents the career that she was wanting to pursue.
I never knew anyone. I never like tried to. It was out of the picture. It was completely out of the picture. And then it was hard to tell my parents because they were like, "You really don't have any background on this. Like, do you know where you're going to work? Do you know anyone?" I was like, "No, but I really love it. I really do love it." And that's history.
Nastasia touches on the time she had at Murray State University, saying she wishes she could go back. She says her time on campus was very fulfilling and she learned a lot about herself.
You will always think the time that you spend in college or in the university as the, at least for me, as the best years of my life. That's what I keep saying to everyone. I'm like, if I could only relieve something, it would be the time I spent in the university. But when you graduate, you have so much thirst to do stuff that it's very creative. And as a creative person, as you are, then it's going to be scary, but it's also very fulfilling.
Nobody is fully ready for life after graduation. However, Nastasia touches on the importance of being ready to adapt and adjust for whatever job comes your way.
The only thing you need to be ready for when you graduate is to be ready to adapt and adjust. The things sometimes you're not doing anything. Things work differently in different departments and different jobs. Like you might be lucky and go to a job that, it works the way you learned in this university, and then you might go to another job, your second job, and be like, oh, it's different from the previous one, but in the previous one, it's what I've learned, and it's going to be more easy. But if you go to a job that does not work the way you've learned, then I mean, when I first started working in Cyprus, it took me 3 months to be like, is this it? This is it? Like, this is how we work? Because if this is how we work, then I have to change my entire mindset.
Nastasia's time at Murray State really helped her get to where she is today. Being able to be well rounded in many different aspects of the industry helped her career in the very beginning.
When I was studying in Mary State, we had to go through a lot of things, through audio, through lighting, through editing. So I went through all of this, all those things, and it really helped me because when I got back, I knew every single thing that needed to happen for the end result. And I realized that not a lot of people had the chance to go through all the procedures and only knew one thing. So it really, really helped me at the beginning because I could say my opinion and I could know things that other people did not know because they were like at lighting only or at, editing. So I feel very lucky that I had to go through all the process and I knew all the process for something to happen.
It was never in Nastasia's plan to go back to Cyprus after graduation. A relationship is what led her to going back home. However, not long after she returned home, the relationship fell through. Some would view this as a huge mistake, but Nastasia believes it as a blessing in disguise.
As soon as we broke up, after a few days, I got a job opportunity that I accepted. And from that moment, I never stopped working. So I think, I don't know, things happen for a reason. So it doesn't matter that I broke up because it's fine. It wasn't meant to be, but it was the reason to come back. And then one job opportunity brought another one and another one and another one. And while I was having so many job opportunities, I did not want to say no to everything and just go and start again from the beginning because I really worked hard to have all these opportunities coming my way. So I kind of like stayed because of the things that were coming in, and I was like, I cannot reject this and then go again from the beginning. And then one thing brought another, and one thing brought another, and it's been 6 years, and I'm here.
Nastasia is currently doing some freelance work, as well as producing a comedy TV series in Cyprus called Camping, which will be filming until June. Nastasia says she is taking a small break from directing, but has big plans to come back next year with a television series about the butterfly effect and the importance of one person's actions affecting someone else without even knowing it. 6 months ago, Nastasia finished a television series in Cyprus called Karma. The show was about true crime incidents that happened in the city of Cyprus that no one has ever talked about. Every episode discussed a new era, a new story, and included many different actors. Nastasia discussed with me how hard it was to work on a television series that touched super hard topics and to not get emotionally attached to any of them.
The discipline and structured from playing sports helped for having a crew that knew exactly what we were doing and respecting everyone and everything that was happening, because I really believe that having a crew that you choose and they understand what they have to do, it's what makes a director be able to show his work, because I cannot do anything by myself. I need a crew. The difficult part was not to get emotionally attached with the stories, because there are like true people, relatives that are still alive. Sometimes the stories were about kids, so I was very out of the emotional connections because I wanted to direct a very clear image and not take a position of, oh, I believe she did what she did and it was the correct thing, or he did what he did because it was the correct thing. So I used to take a step back and not getting emotionally attached with anything, so I could have a more clear mind of directing it and saying to the actors how to do this and what to do and what emotions they feel. It was very hard filmings because it was all natural locations. There was no studio, so we had to change every 3 days our locations. And that's one thing that was very clear from the beginning, that we are here to do this thing. If you do not want to do this thing, then you could go find something else, because it is discipline from the day we start until the day we finish. Like the filming, when people came to watch the filming or get interviews, they were all very shocked because it was like walking in a funeral. Nobody was talking. We were all like doing what we had to do without talking, no shouting, no laughing. It was like silence. And that went on for like 3 years. But it was when Garma finished and everything like calmed down and you sit down and you think of what you were doing. And I used to think of the stories we did. I used to think of the actual people that were involved in these cases, that some people are still alive, some people are still in jail. And it gets you, because then you get out of your creative thing that you need to do. Oh, I have this thing to do. And then you think of what you were doing and you're like, oh my God, how?
Nastasia tells me about one episode that really got to her head that she could not get her mind wrapped around during the filming of Karma.
It was one story I could not get out of my mind. Like when we were filming it, I was very concentrated of what I had to do. But it was about necrophilia. Yeah, and we had to go in a funeral home. We had to work in a funeral home, film in a funeral home, which was actually working. So we had to stop every time someone had to bring someone in, and then we had to go to the like cemetery and do that filming. I finished filming 3 days in a row, and after that I was like, I cannot function. This stuff is surreal. Like, how does someone actually do these things? That was the only episode from 3 years that I could not get my mind wrapped around it.
Nastasia's favorite part of working in this industry is being able to direct perception and the impact that a story can have on the audience.
Working in this industry and especially directing, it's that film and TV allows you to, direct perception. And I feel that there's a tremendous power in doing that. You could tell a story, but that story could be told in 10 different ways and with 10 different, directions. And I love that. I love that you could tell a story the way you view it, or you can tell a story that can direct someone's perception and change what they used to think or about the subject. I think the power that the entire industry has in saying an opinion, that's my favorite thing, that you could say a story and impact and affect people.
A very important memory she has made while in her career is when she worked on the television show Karma. She discussed the impact an episode about domestic violence had on the audience. It was at this moment she knew her work was touching the lives of others through a screen.
We did this episode about domestic violence, about a woman that was being abused and ended up killing her uh, because of being jealous and because of having the power and all the type of stuff. The night that the episode aired, which was a Sunday, on Tuesday, the police called us and told us that there were more than 10 phone calls for domestic violence in different cities in Cyprus that tried to get help. So it makes you feel that you are doing something, that you are helping someone without actually helping them in person, but someone saw it and said, I don't want to end up like that, so I'm going to ask for help. Maybe if they did not watch the episode, they wouldn't get help. But the fact that there were so many phone calls, it makes you smile and say, maybe we helped someone.
When discussing goal setting, Nastasia touches on setting goals with yourself and not letting others have an impact on what your goals are. She also emphasizes the importance of continuing to set goals and not letting yourself stop at accomplishing just one thing.
You know your limit, you know what you're worth. So for me personally, I like to set goals with myself. And every time I reach a goal, I don't be laid back and be like, oh, I did it, it's fine. Because as soon as you reach that goal, you need to put another goal, which is higher than your previous one. So you need to push yourself and not lay back and be like, oh, I did it. You cannot do that in this industry, because every year you need to do something else and something new, better than the previous one. You need to set your goals with yourself. And because in this industry, there are a lot of people that will come and say very mean comments to, make you feel like you're not worth it. Don't pay attention to them, because most probably they're the ones that are not worth it. When you're young and when you start, you really want approval from other people. So you could feel that you are doing something. But that's not the case. You know if you're doing something, and you should not let anyone, change the way you have your set goals and stuff because someone said, oh, this is not good. Or just do it with yourself and put the goals with yourself and work with yourself, because others, it's very easy for them to just say a comment. But if you put your goals and you want to do them and you commit, then you do it. It's, yourself, so you don't need others saying things.
Not having your accomplishments acknowledged can be very frustrating, especially when you're first starting out in the industry of media production. However, Nastasia tells me how going through this ongoing fight with yourself for acknowledgement will allow you to grow and be able to understand that the work you are doing is good.
When I first started, I was so mad that someone would not acknowledge the fact that I did this. It was me. I would get so mad and so frustrated because I was like, I don't know what else to do for people to, realize my accomplishments. It's a really tricky thing. But after you start working and you feel that your accomplishments affect and you can see change on things, even if even if no one comes and tells you something, you still feel it, and it's very fulfilling. But you have to go through the process of getting angry and mad for people not recognizing your accomplishments, so you can understand when someone does not recognize it. You're at the point that you do not need for someone to recognize your accomplishment because you know what you did. But it's a process you need to go. You cannot go straight to the fact that you don't mind getting recognized. You need to go through the process of getting frustrated and mad and being like, why nobody's saying that this is good? Because then you go through all this emotional, fight with yourself. Then when you know that what you're doing is good, you don't need anyone to tell you, oh, this was good.
In our society today, overnight success is an ongoing phenomenon that can be seen alongside many different outlets of media. One of the biggest lessons Nastasia said she learned when working in this industry is that overnight success is rare and most likely a myth. Knowing this allows her to take her time and to not crack under the pressure to succeed quickly.
It's going to take a very long time to get where you want to go. And that was something that I was struggle because overnight success is so popular through this generation. So you feel that you might do it because it's so easy, because you see so many people have overnight success and you're like, oh, I might be the one. It's not. It's rare and possibly a myth. And it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of commitment to get where you want to go. And that's something I learned the hard way, which is fine. But that was, I think, the most important thing I learned, because now when I try to do things, I know they take time, and I don't pressure myself. I don't pressure people around me to be like, now, 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 now. I know it takes time.
Nastasia described Cyprus as being old fashioned when compared to the opportunities that the United States have for women in media production. She discussed with me how important it was for her to overcome the sexism that is present in the media industry in Cyprus. She told me about the difficulty that she and the female writer went through to make karma happen.
It means, to me, it really means a lot, because someone needs to pave the way for things. We were not the first ones. There were women before us that they tried to, pave the way for new women to come in. The only thing that we paved the way, let's say, it was the fact that this was a series that was very hard to produce. And everywhere, in every production company that we went, they were like, no, no, no. And when we said, okay, we're going to do it by ourselves, there were so many men that said, oh, look at this too. They're not going to succeed at anything. How can two women do a production? Blah, 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 and all that. And then Karma comes out and it's like a hit. the ratings are very high. People keeps commenting on it. They're saying of how good of a production is. And you sit on your couch and you're like, oh, where are you at now? Tell me more of how we could not do this. We did something that they said we couldn't. And that was a very, you feel that, yes, we can do it. Other people, other women can do it. So we just proved you wrong. So the next time another woman comes and says, I will produce this, then she can.
Nastasia leaves me with some closing thoughts and advice for women who want to become a part of the media production industry. Towards the end of our interview, she continually discussed the importance of having persistence and understanding the amount of commitment that goes into doing this type of work.
Definitely takes a lot of guts because you go in a room and it's full of men, and you're like, hi, hi. I'm gonna be the director, so you're all gonna be getting instructions from me. It's scary, but you need to stay focused and commit to what you do, and not let them, shift you and make you the way they want. You need to be persistent, especially if you have faith in what you do and if you believe it so much, then be persistent and get out of your comfort zone. Don't be afraid to like speak up your mind, because your the way you think and the things you want to say, they need to be heard. And it's not because you're a woman you're not going to say them. No, you will say them. If they don't want to hear them, then it's their problem, not yours. It's very simple in my head. I mean, they will go through things that they might think twice to be in this industry. But at the end of the day, if you are persistent and if you know that you want to do this and if you're willing to commit, because I keep saying commitment because it's a lot of work, it's a lot of hours. Sometimes you do not have personal life. Sometimes you have to sacrifice your personal life for your job. And there are a lot of things that need to happen. That's why I keep saying commitment, because it's a very important thing to be in this industry. But one thing I would say is be persistent. Speak up your mind. And if they don't want to hear it, then it's not your problem. You keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks for listening to Filmmaker. I hope you enjoyed my discussion with Nastazia Christodoulou and listening to her stories and what she has learned about being a part of the television and film industry. Join us next week when I talk with Piper Cassetto, a Murray State University student who has her own media business and works in the world of sports. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. That is all for this episode of Filmmaker. Until next time.